Revolutionaries are meeting in Chapter 1083 of One Piece. This one's going to be full of spoilers today on Nerd Culture News, where I bring you facts about fiction. So this chapter is starting out over on Eva's island, and you're having a meeting between Eva, Sabo, and Dragon. And this is just like last chapter, really fun getting to see how these three interact together, because we haven't really seen it a whole lot. Basically, Sabo is going and explaining what had happened while he was in Joie, where he had basically taken down their symbol. He had freed as many slaves as he possibly could, and he freed Kuma, even though Kuma still went back. That's a whole thing. And they're attacking and going after the food supplies now of the Celestial Dragons, to the point where it's not just over at Joie where that happened, but they are actually like all over the globe going and attacking the food supplies that are supposed to go there. So they're trying to basically starve out the dragons. I really like the point that Monkey D. Dragon points out the fact that this is going to be a slower process. They are not trying to make this a speedy thing. They are trying to play strategically and slowly just basically choke out the dragons. It's brilliant. I like that they're doing that, but they are still doing things like basically declaring war on them, so they know, hey, we are a threat to you. So that's a thing, but that means that they are going to be summoning, like the dragons are summoning something called like the God's Knights, which a lot of people online think that the silhouette that they showed, one of them looks like Shanks. I don't know. It's possible. There's a lot of theories running around online, but it would be kind of crazy to see Shanks on the side of the dragons in the end of this instead of like on Luffy's side. That would be such a big change in the momentum that we've been seeing lately, especially in that it looks like the Marines have been losing a lot more. It's really fun getting to see Eva in this chapter because they are just going crazy, like loving all of the ways that they are messing with the dragons and the Marines. And it's just fun getting to see this mischievous like side to a character that, you know, we don't get to see too often. Sabo, he's really just willing to use whatever he can that's going on to try and better how things end up going. Like what happened with Cobra, where like the media is trying to frame him with it even though he didn't do it, and he's basically looking at it like, look, if this is what we have to do, you know, I'm going to use it to my advantage even though that's not really my intent with this, you know, because Cobra is actually seen as like a very well-known, like respected like king. One thing that I really liked is they're talking about how they're actually getting other nations to stand up against the dragons. They're not going to pay the tolls. They're not going to like give some of their supplies to the dragons anymore. They're not going to pay into them, which even is choking off the dragons even more from their supplies, to the point that they're basically saying, hey, it's about that time. You guys are really feeling it by now, I would imagine. So that's going to be playing a huge factor going forward, because it's definitely going on a very political like road, which is a little bit, you know, like Oda does it sometimes, but he doesn't like put too much of a focus on it. So it's kind of cool seeing this focus of these revolutionaries versus the higher government. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to end up playing off and what their countermeasure actually is for the revolutionaries, and who is all on the revolutionary side. They're talking about these other kingdoms standing up with them. We don't know which kingdoms they are. That could actually lead to a lot of very interesting, you know, like players in this upcoming war. Then we get an awesome flashback to what was actually going down at Joie with Sabo, and we're getting like all sorts of curiosity with this. He's like this like crow guy that's with the revolutionaries, and apparently he has the soot fruit, which is cool, goes along with the fire like theming that we're having with the revolutionaries. But he's like this cool crow guy. I mean, we've seen him before, but not a whole lot. So it's cool seeing him. And then like, so they're going in, and it's kind of funny. You see the revolutionaries like battling it out with like some of these like higher up Marines, and the Marines are getting fed up with the dragons because they're just kind of in the way, and you can tell that they don't really actually like the dragons, which nobody does. You have all these fights that are going down with the revolutionaries and the Marines, but then you have to remember there's a lot of royalty that's here, and Vivi being one of them. Lucci is supposed to be be the one that's with her, but she's like, I don't really want you. You can't guard nothing anyway. I don't trust you. I'd rather have Garp. So, land some smack on old Lucci. He kind of deserves it. But this, you have to remember, this is a flashback. He is now with Luffy right now in like the story, and like the where the actual timeline is at. And then during all of this, it looks like Cobra is gonna go and talk with the Gorosei, but they say right when he gets to the door, he's the only one allowed to enter. The rest of his entourage has to stay back, which is not a good look, because we know what happens to Cobra after this. Cobra's gone after this. He's getting taken down, and is it gonna be the Gorosei? More than likely, not gonna lie. Like, the Council of Old Dudes, they've definitely seen the type that would do something like this, because Cobra is a king that would actually stand up like the revolutionaries are trying to get against the dragons. So I could definitely see why they would want to take him out. So that's sad, but we already knew that he was gone, and we're just figuring out how that happened. He goes in with a smile. I gotta say, old Cobra, I think he knows what's about to go down, and he's just like, let it happen. You know that you can't stand up against the revolution, and I love that. I love where we're going with the story, because right now we are in those building stages to build to something bigger. I don't know about introducing these God Knight things unless it's characters that we already know, because come on, we're getting to the final war. We don't need new people. We already have so much of where we just want everybody that we've ever seen in One Piece to basically end up in this war. So, I mean, let's hope that they don't introduce too many new people, because I don't want it to get overcrowded and the characters that we already like being overshadowed. What did you think of the latest chapter of One Piece? Are you enjoying getting to find out more about what the revolutionaries have been up to and what Sabo has been up to? Let me know in the comments and give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you're enjoying being here. Make sure that you're subscribed, so that way we can make sure that we build this community into an awesome place that we can all talk about all the nerdy things we love. And as always, have yourself a beautiful day.